You filthy animals.
How's my buddies over at the R2 Sonic Campfire doing today?
Never well. Keep them warm.
Oh, man.
You guys should come. You're my good luck charms, man. I always catch fish with you guys.
Is there room on the bus?
Because I look at you guys, and the 8 or 9 of you guys impressed me a lot. You know, because I first ran. Okay. You know.
No, go on.
You guys.
I don't do advertising. You're not going to see me on billboards or in newspapers, classifieds, none of that. Well, yeah, there's that because, you know, you guys are awesome. But
Yeah, well, that's comforting to know in case I say something stupid.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're hearing it real
That's
time.
kind of our thing, so don't step on our turf.
Yeah, come on, man.
Oh, man, I hope I don't.
What we're saying is actually new, so that's why we're fumbling a little bit, but it's going to sound amazing.
And we are back. You are listening to the Rutten River Pursuit podcast. We're sitting around a Sonic Campfire. Oh, boy, that sounded hot tonight, too.
It is, bud.
I like
I
it.
burnt myself.
So,
Stings.
we are Reality Outdoor Radio, where our mission is to get you in the outdoors by connecting you with the people, skills, and products you can trust.
You can trust them all.
I'm Ryan. Who do I got with me tonight?
This is Pick.
It's Bucky.
And I'm Will.
How's it going tonight, boys?
What's up, fellas?
It's going. I'm excited for another night, but
It's going to be a great night, buddy.
we can't go there yet, can we?
I guess not, Bucky. What do you want me to do?
Bucky, what are you trying to get? What are you getting
Well,
at?
I'm just trying to get some things
You're
out of the
trying to
way
move
so we
some
can
stuff along,
yeah,
aren't you?
Yeah, because I want to get into this.
Well, go on. What do you need?
I need to hear from Ryan real quick, about this month's sponsor.
I kicks it to myself.
All right. This month's episodes are brought to you in part by Protection First Class Outdoors. PFC lubes were designed and developed to protect and lubricate your firearms, your bows, your tree stands, heck, all your outdoor equipment.
What about fishing rods?
Absolutely fishing rods, Stevie. You know it.
No way.
You know it.
Even kniveses?
You can use it on all your knives, Bucky. The ones you made and the ones you bought. Guys, I'm telling you, this stuff was originally designed to use in automotive undercoatings. Now, it don't get more corrosive than that.
I heard that.
That's true.
Hey, Ryan,
Yeah, buddy.
does it leave a film or residue?
Absolutely not, Brian. No film, no residue. This stuff isn't going to harm the bluing on your firearms, any other kind of finish you got on any of your other outdoor products. This stuff is the ticket. And what? Now, wait.
I bet it freezes.
It does not freeze, Bucky.
What?
Oh,
But there's one more thing I got to tell you about. This stuff will also act as a cover scent.
You got
How
me.
many times you ever taken a well-protected and lubricated piece of equipment in the outdoors? It stinks, boys.
it
Yes, it
stinks.
does.
Not this stuff. They got the earth and the pine cover scent mixed right into the lubricant.
Wow.
They
Come
thought
on.
of
Can't beat it.
everything.
That's right, guys. Make sure you head on over to pfcoutdoors.com. Check out everything they got going on over there. Pick up some of that lube. It's the ticket. I love me some lanolin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
I love that earth scent.
Good stuff. And Bucky, I don't blame you really at all for being excited
I'd
about
blame
tonight.
him for a lot of things.
Sorry, bud.
That's true. That's true.
Whatever it was, I'm
I
sorry.
just blame him.
We did take a trip out of the state recently with a guest, but we're bringing it right back to Pennsylvania again.
Bringing it back.
right on back.
I'm telling you, this is going to be good stuff tonight.
I love these Pennsylvania guests.
All right, stop slow rolling it. Who you got?
Here's the
Who's
deal.
here? Ryan, what'd you do?
Here's the deal. I thought we're really trying to keep it PA-centric, right? Making sure PA stays sexy. There's nothing sexier about PA than guys named Ryan.
Then a man in uniform.
So,
I thought you were saying a man in uniform.
Sorry to the guest.
and a man in uniform, especially if his name is Ryan.
Oh, gotcha.
So what I've got in store for you boys tonight,
What
I
did
got
you
on
do?
the line right now from Northern Outcasts Outdoors. I've got Mr. Ryan Tanner, and here's the thing. He's calling from pretty high atop the Quest Hunt Co. leaderboard.
Oh, I think very high.
I think so.
Ryan, are you there? Can you hear us at the top up there?
I am here.
Hey, what's up, Ryan?
How's life at the top of the leaderboard, bud?
Oxygen
Man, it
is
feels good. It
little
feels
lighter.
good.
Yeah, I'm sure it
It's
does.
early bird still, so we can't get too crazy, but it feels good.
I don't blame you, even if it's only for a day. It's good,
Absolutely.
good stuff, and it's good stuff. Obviously, that means you've been able to punch the buck tag,
Yes.
to get that buck on the board, and your partner was able to do so as well. Is that right?
Oh, he sure did. He sure did. Yeah, it was only a couple days apart, and it was almost out of the same tree. We were probably about 30 yards apart from where I shot mine and he shot his. So it's pretty neat.
And man, you know what? We sometimes we'll jump in and we'll try to go back in time a little bit and get to know about how you got your start in the outdoors. But I gotta just go right to this most recent event that you've been dealing with, Ryan.
Let's do it.
This was your first archery buck, is that right?
It was, yes.
Holy
That-
buckets.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Yes, very,
Yeah.
very
Thank
cool.
you. Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
What did that score unofficially?
It was right above 104, I believe.
Yeah. So my
Yeah,
next question is, what is it like to actually get a buck that scores
Triple
that
digits.
you can actually enter into the Quest Hunt Fest tournament?
It feels damn good. It feels damn good.
I can tell you half of the people at this table no longer, on our end, half the people at the table no longer have a buck tag for the state of Pennsylvania. And we still don't have a buck that can make it to the Quest board.
None of us have made it to the board at all.
Well, at least you had one to put tape on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that is
I know.
true.
I get
That is
it.
true.
We're very happy
Yes,
about
we are.
our deer. No question. I'm just saying, what's it like?
It's a good feeling, but I've always been
Sight.
told you can't eat the antlers, so
Yeah. If you find a recipe, let me know.
You can stir the soup with it.
That's right.
you sure
Ryan.
can.
Or pick your
Sure can.
teeth.
Now, so Ryan, I got to know a little bit though. You've said it's your first archery buck. Have you taken doe in archery season?
I actually, the first year I started archery hunting, I actually bought a crossbow because it was quick, easy. I didn't really have to learn anything. I ended up getting a small doe that year. That was 4 years ago is when I
Okay.
started. And then the Wednesday before I shot my buck, I actually harvested a doe too with the compound. So
Nice.
technically with the compound, this year's been the year to go.
Yeah, I would say.
I mean, and regardless of technology or weapon, when you're talking about somebody who, and I'm going to make some assumptions here, but you've grown up in the outdoors. You've hunted deer most of your life, I'm guessing.
I
with firearms.
started late.
Okay.
late.
Did you?
Yeah, I started when I was 18.
Okay.
It's a little
But
late. But
I've
it's
always
not.
been in the outdoors.
I got you. Bit of a late bloomer. That's all right.
Yes, yes.
But even though it was 4 years in between the doe with the crossbow and what you got this year with the compound bow, I need to know, was there a little difference in the shaky leg syndrome? Was there a difference in your blood pressure after you released and punched a hole in a big buck like that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the first doe I shot with the crossbow, I just about fell out of the tree just because I was so excited.
Nice.
And I mean, that's the first time that I've had a deer. You know, I think that doe was 15 yards away.
Wow.
So that was like the closest I've been to a deer because all I did was rifle hunt. So it's
Yeah.
always distance or them taking off for their life.
Now
But
it's so magical to be that close.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's so I can't. I don't think anybody can kind of. I'll do my best to do this to say what it's like, but
Go on.
there is nothing more tense than being next to an animal that can smell, see.
right, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
I mean, it is a very tense situation.
tense is a
Yeah,
very
I mean,
good
it's
word.
definitely because you're in their world then, you know, and you get to see and hear and feel everything. You know, it's crazy. It is absolutely mind blowing.
You're afraid to move.
And the
You're
seal-
afraid
Yeah.
to breathe.
But like,
Like the thermals, like, You know, anything
like your thermal underwear.
No, like just the way the air is just flowing through that
Anything
part of the woods.
can go wrong
Yeah.
at any
Right.
second, and then you know, to seal the deal, to punch a tag, that is pure magic.
Yeah.
I agree. I always close my eyes. If I feel like they're looking up at me, I close my eyes.
Yeah, then they can't see you. I do the same stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if that actually works. Like, because I've heard if you make eye contact with them, like they notice, or I don't know.
Yeah,
but ever since I heard that, I close my eyes.
I do. I'm not gonna lie. I do the squinting thing. Like I'll squint because I want to keep an eye on them. I don't want to lose sight of them. Yeah. But I will squint a little bit so they can't see the whites.
I don't look in their eye because then I don't want to shoot them if I look them in the eye like that.
Is it respect?
Yeah.
Is that when you name them?
Yeah, I name them. Want to pet them. Then.
I want to pet them after that.
So Ryan, that night that you were able to put the smackdown on this buck, how long ago was it? Was that a week?
That was November the 9th.
So what was the situation like? Was he running doe? You just happened to be in the right place, right time?
He was actually just cruising by. The spot that we're hunting and that we found is at the bottom, and it's in between some bedding areas, and it's a nice open, not necessarily open, but it's like a flat where, you know, the trees are kind of spread apart nicely. There's not that much brush, but it's a good cruising zone, I guess is what you could call it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, they literally they're all over.
Did you see any other deer prior to this buck stepping out and crossing your path?
No, I did not. But Lane, because I had to work this morning, so I didn't get off until 7 a.m. But Lane had made it out earlier, you know, like around, I think he got in the tree around 7:30ish.
Right.
But he actually drew back on a buck and kind of went sideways, and he bumped his camera. The camera swung, and the deer spooked off a little bit. And then, that was the end of that one. But I guess I'm pretty sure that he said he saw 5. I think 2 of them were shooters, and the other ones weren't legal. But
right.
Yeah, I ended up getting there. I think I pulled into the parking spot like 9:40ish.
Oh wow.
I got ready. I texted him, told him I was coming down, and just took my time down the trail that we walked down to the tree. And I got to the tree, climbed up the tree, and, you know, we were sitting there, and he was showing me the footage of this morning, and I wouldn't say 25, 30 minutes. And this buck I spotted this buck probably 100, 150 yards out.
Yeah.
And he was just cruising through.
Isn't that the greatest time of year, though? I mean, you can
walk
into the stand at 9 o'clock in the morning, and 25 minutes later, you got a big buck walking up.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't.
Love November.
That's awesome.
That's a great thing, because that's something that if I had a struggle this year, if I couldn't make it in the stand at 5 o'clock, I didn't go. And Ryan is kind of flipping the script on me, saying, just get in the stand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially at that time of the year, I mean, you could go whenever, honestly. If you got the spot where they're going to be cruising through and you know that there's deer there, I mean, heck, you could sleep in till 11 o'clock and go out and hit probably the best time of the day to hunt.
Yeah. Just to, you know, reiterate what Ryan and Will were saying was, you know, last weekend, I saw a buck come through at 12:30, 12:45, middle of the day, just ate lunch and got settled up in the tree, and bang, there he was.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a perfect time of the year. Like you said, you just got to be in the woods at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Early season, you might want to get there a little bit earlier, but.
Right. So both of you guys were in the same tree. Did you have a double set in that?
We took our climbers. Yeah,
okay.
we used our climbers every time we went, except for once. We sat in a blind once. And it was actually that evening.
So is one filming usually, or are you guys both hunting and just?
Kind of just depends on the deer that's coming through. I know he had his mindset on a couple deer. I just kind of was, you know, whatever I felt was right at the time. If he wasn't going to shoot it and I was going to be happy with it, then I would have taken it. But it just all depend on what was coming through, and if there was one that he was going to shoot or wanted to shoot his target buck, then we would have just switched off, and I took the camera, and he could have grabbed his bow.
Yeah. Which
That's
one do you want?
a pretty cool deal.
I want that 8-point.
That's
good
awesome.
because I'll take anything.
Yeah. I tell you what, the spot we were in, we had a lot of options, and we had a lot of big deer, mature deer, and we had a list of shooters that we were very fortunate to have. That's for sure. And they stuck around. It was actually a week after my girlfriend Danielle shot hers, and
Beautiful buck.
Oh my God, unbelievable deer. We named him Godzilla at first, and then we kind of veered off to naming him Split G's, just because he has like 3 or 4 tines that have splits at the end of them, and he has kickers off. Yeah, I think he has 2 or 3 kickers off one at a time. I mean,
Split G's.
he's just
It's his rapper name.
He's just an unbelievable specimen, to say the least.
Yeah, he was a very nice deer.
Yeah, congrats to her.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, going back to that idea of sitting in the stand and trading off the cameras, depending upon the deer that came in, that would never work for Will and I. Because we'd just be up there calling dibs as soon as we seen a little, just a little flash of antler. Dibs.
I think we'd be drawing at the same time.
Who's running the camera?
Thought you were.
We have great audio footage.
You guys do film your hunts?
A couple of us do. I can't say we all do, but a couple of us are good self-filmers.
I've gotten into it a little bit this year, but I'm only at the equipment level I'm at, still just a GoPro, which I know is very, it's just not the way to go. There's a lot better options. But
there's an angle for it, but that's not what you need, right?
No, the angle the GoPro is great for like doing your testimonials and talking to the camera when you get into the stand, stuff like that. But actual footage of deer in the woods, it's not that great.
Yeah,
it zooms. It's too zoomed out. But supposedly, doesn't one of the new ones have it's like automatically zoomed in so far, or so much zoom to it? It makes it a little bit better. I don't know. I'm not too tech savvy.
It very well could be. I mean, I just have to spend more time with Brian. Once he punches his tags, he can film for me. That's the way I think we should work it from now on.
That's a deal. Yeah, I'll film you. So, Ryan, let's go back to that hunt. You said you walked in at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. And
it was just before 10, yeah.
And you spotted this buck, and then take us from there. What the conversation was between the two of you, and how it all ended up.
How we're stationed in the tree. He's facing one way, I'm facing the other way, kind of deal. He looks his way, I look my way, and I just so happen to look more to my left in the direction of just where Lane looks, and probably closer to 150 yards. I just noticed a belly and legs underneath some of the brush coming. So I tapped Lane on the leg, and I was like, "Oh, there's a big deer coming." And he's like, "I can't see it." So I'm trying to point out where this deer is, and I'm like getting real into it, and I'm like throwing my fist in the direction of this deer. I'm like, "He's right there. He's coming. He's coming quick." And he couldn't see it. So I'm like, I don't know. I said, and then he finally got to probably about 60-ish yards, and I noticed it was a buck, and I said, "It looks like a decent buck." Can't really tell because he kept going through some brush.
Right.
And then he got to about 30 yards, and Lane was like, "Oh, I see him. That's a good buck." And I said, "Are you taking him? Or I take him? What's the deal?" And he went to actually grab his bow. And so I went to grab the camera, and then the deer switched past to come more in my direction. So he kind of gave up on the bow. Yeah, I'd say so.
Yahtzee.
So I grabbed my bow, and he's probably 25 yards from us now, and we're moving around like apes in the tree, making all this noise and moving, and we're like, "Shh, be quiet. But yet then I'm over here hitting my bow off the tree. He's moving the camera, and the deer actually looked up at us while we're doing all this. And we both stopped. We both froze, and then it just kind of put his head back down, and he kept walking in our direction.
What a break.
Oh, you ain't kidding. He looked up at us a few times, actually. I thought we were done. So he kind of stayed within the 25-yard mark, and then he cut broadside to me and walked parallel with me, how I was facing. And he was walking perfect. There was a couple different shooting lanes that I could have shot, but the camera wasn't right. And then when the camera was right, I wasn't right. So we were like bickering back and forth, trying to figure out, when the best time would be. And he finally came to this down tree, and I was just getting ready to draw. And then he turned away from us and started walking away.
Come on.
And then he made it to the end of the down tree, which was probably only another like 5 or 6 yards. And he turned broadside again, and Lane asked me if I had him. I said, yeah. And he stopped him, and the deer actually looked away from us. Didn't even look in our direction, and it was perfect.
Send it.
Yep.
So, I sent the arrow. It hit its mark, and we actually, when the deer was running away, we actually, like, our hearts fell out of our stomach. And the arrow looked like it didn't even go in the deer.
What?
So we were like, oh my God, what just happened?
It's just sticking in the ground right there below you.
It was in the deer, but it didn't look like any of it went in.
No penetration.
Just a broadhead. So I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? I messed up. So I'm thinking the worst at this point. And we watch it take off. It runs about 80 yards, and then it kind of disappears into the thicket. And I look at Lane. I'm like, did it look good? I don't know. It didn't look good from my angle. The arrow was sticking out of him. And he's like, I don't know, dude. You might have hit the shoulder. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I just go into like this depression mode. And so thankfully we filmed it, and we got some pretty decent footage of it. We rewinded it. When I let the arrow go, his shoulder was back.
Mm-hmm.
So then we were like, I did hit the shoulder. I did. I had to have. And he sent it to his phone. His camera's real high tech. He's a fancy fella.
High tech redneck.
Yeah. So he sent it to his phone, and then we were able to zoom in and slow it down a little bit better. And it's pretty neat and very fortunate for me is when I let the arrow go, he didn't like duck the arrow. He kind of just took a stride, almost like stretched his body out. And opened up. His shoulder went forward instead of backward right before my arrow hit him. So the arrow went all the way through.
He opened up
to the other shoulder blade and bounced out. So we actually got full penetration, and then it just kind of rode itself out really quick.
What equipment were you using? What arrow and broadhead setup?
It was
I have
Nerf arrow.
My arrow is an Easton. They're the carbon aftermath. And my broadhead, I use a Rage chisel tip, a 2.3-inch cut.
Right. Yeah.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I might add.
Are they the collarless ones? They don't have an O-ring or a collar?
No, they do. They do have a collar on them, but it's not the red ones that everybody was complaining about in past time. They actually switched them up to where they open a lot easier. They break easier.
Okay.
Because I guess the older version of their collars, they're red. I guess they're a lot stiffer, and people are having problems with them opening up.
Yeah, it's a harder process.
So they made a switch, and I will vouch for them. They're a lot easier because if you pull them out of your quiver, they sometimes like to catch, and then they open
up. Yeah. Well, it sounded like it did its job, whichever broadhead it was.
It did 100%.
That's good.
So at your elevated angle, you're hitting opposite shoulder. It's bouncing back out. You're watching a deer run off. You can still see the arrow hanging out of it. What kind of blood trail were you looking at? What'd you find when you got down out of the tree?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
What? I would have bet a paycheck it would have been a carpet.
No. Where I hit him, we followed just kicked up leaves and tracks for probably, I don't know, probably about 20 yards. So not too far of nothing. But then at that point, it was only like penny size drop here, a smaller drop here. I mean, it didn't look good. Even after looking at the footage and we thought it was a good hit, it didn't look good. It was like that for probably 60, 70 yards.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Basically came to the end of the blood trail.
Your heart's got to be like, you've got to be in some kind of distress at this point.
I was just like depression.
Yeah.
I guess that'd be the best word to describe it. I was literally sad about the cry.
Grown men cry.
Yeah, and I would not be scared to admit if I cried
Also
about it.
cry.
Blood trails like that'll do it to you, though.
Yeah.
Yes,
They
and it didn't
definitely
even
will.
find hair where I shot him at either. So that was like, oh my gosh, what the heck did I do?
Now, if he ran off with the arrow in him, did you find that 60 or so yards down the trail yet?
We did. We found that probably like 50 yards into the trail that he took. We found it, and the broadhead was actually screwed off.
Screwed off.
Wow.
Yeah, it didn't break. It just unscrewed itself.
Okay, so you found the entire length of the arrow, just no broadhead. You got the insert, you got everything there.
Right.
Now, did that give you a better indication of the penetration depth? Like you could see that you at least have blood on 8 inches of the arrow?
Yeah, it definitely kind of lightened the mood a little bit, but still never, because of where I hit and how I saw it, how it played out, I kind of still had that.
Sure.
Oh man, it still might not be good, but it took a good, probably just over half of the arrow. And then there was some splatter up closer to the fletchings, but the fletchings weren't, there was no blood on the fletchings. So we knew it didn't go all the way in, but we knew that we got enough in to at least hit the good stuff.
So here's a question for you. And before we move too far along, the spot where you were aiming, would that change? Or was that the spot? Like you were just, there's no regrets. I got to send it there.
I want to say I don't have any regrets because I feel like I was where I would normally aim. But if I were the Monday morning quarterback, I would have taken it a couple inches back. Back from his shoulders, just to be safe.
Yeah,
but I think I hugged the shoulder a little bit too tight.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we got arrow, we got little drops of blood, and at some point you're saying the blood runs out.
Right. Yeah, it does. We get to a point, I mark it with the arrow, the last blood that we found. We walk around a little bit. Lane thought that the deer had ran to the right of the trail that we were walking on, up a hill into some posted property. And then I was just like so hell-bent on, I saw him go to the left. I swear I saw a white tail cut to the left.
Yeah.
We checked the right side first. We didn't really see anything that, made us lead to believe that he went up that way. We came back to the last marked blood, and there was a couple trails coming through the thicket. I said, we got to try these trails.
Yeah.
And we took we probably went into the thicket maybe 15 yards, and we saw a little bit of blood. So I'm like, okay, well now at least we're on to something.
Yeah.
A little bit more than what we started with.
How experienced are you and Lane at tracking?
Me, I would say that I am terrible, and he's professional. He's very good. He's very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I mean, he sees broken sticks and notices that stuff when I'm just looking for a blood trail. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, he's very seasoned at all of this stuff. So that's
good.
Another thing that I pick up on a lot that he does, and learned a lot this year.
Sure. Yeah. Anytime that you can do it, we always say, or I always say in particular,
you sure do.
It's different every time.
Yeah.
Every trail is different.
I'm colorblind, so I'm always looking for help.
At least you could see help.
But to what Ryan was saying there, when you ran out of blood, some guys will talk about the idea of grid searching, things like that. My first instinct is to go back to that last blood and really look at the lay of the land, look at the ground, and think like a wounded deer at that point. Look for the trails, the options that they have to take, and rather than a grid search, like creating that pattern and just widening it, I like to follow those trails.
Right.
And especially if you're, at 50, 60 yards, you're still in that area where, somebody saw a little bit of he was to the right of this trail, or I thought I saw a tail go to the left. You still have some visual indicators that'll help you steer you in the right direction. It's very similar to the situation I found myself in with the buck I shot. And we found him the next morning. We backed out because we ran out of blood. I had a low exit on mine, and it just plugged up with a lot of the fat and the all that stuff, and I ended up with no blood after about 40 yards, and the deer only went maybe 130, 140 yards. But we ended up having to back out, come back the next morning, and with no blood, what we were doing was the equivalent of a grid search, but we just follow those trails.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you do that, you get into some of the thicket, and you find a little bit more blood.
Yes.
Now you're feeling better.
Yahtzee.
Oh yeah, we're getting a little bit hyped up now.
Yeah.
We got a little bit further into the trail, and he just opened up. I mean, it was blood everywhere. He left the best trail that you could ever ask for.
So I have to ask, forensically, you hit top lung, and it just took that much time to top off.
Had to fill up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something that I didn't really think about prior to going into this. I didn't think about him having to fill up his cavity with blood before it would start to come out of that one entry hole.
Yep.
I never took that into any of what I was thinking.
Right.
That's the great part about hunting from an elevated position like that in archery. When you get an exit hole, you always have a better blood trail. Just because it's lower in the body from your elevated shot, the exit's lower.
Gravity
helps.
And
it'll bleed out quicker, give you a better blood trail, unless it's directly in the bottom of the body, because then everything plugs it up like I was in.
Really?
But yeah. Sorry, I keep going back to that. A little hung up on that. Yeah, don't ever shoot straight down if you just wait. I learned that lesson this year.
2 more steps.
Give yourself a couple more steps. He'll come out the other side of the tree, and you can get that strong quartering away shot.
Mechanicals might help that, though, buddy.
There we go, Bucky. You're looking for my buttons, aren't you, Bucky?
Bucky, Ryan. Our buddies over at the Whitetail Distraction podcast.
With those veteran.
They shoot the veteran.
Yeah, those things are sweet.
And seeing how you're a veteran.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to shoot those?
Sure.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things from them about those broadheads. I'm not gonna lie.
And they look phenomenal. I'll shoot them.
Yeah.
I keep shooting my muzzies because I got so darn many of them.
Yeah.
Just can't break away from the stock.
I put them on the Facebook Marketplace.
They're still serving me well. I mean, I'm piling up, the used up arrows right there.
I know.
That's the other thing. I do shoot a fixed blade broadhead. I shoot a carbon arrow. It's not just my Instagram handle,
but
it's Pass Through Archery.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I like to send them straight through.
Shameless, selfless plug.
Those arrows that you're seeing right there, they're completely reusable. But once they take a deer, they get hung up.
They don't get used.
Yeah. I don't clean them off.
No, I do the same thing. You did your time.
Yeah.
Go on, soldier.
Anyway, sorry, Ryan. We're almost at the end of your blood trail now. He opened up.
Well, yeah, we're on some good blood now. This is what I was hoping for a lot sooner, but we're following it, and it keeps going, and we find a bed. So we're like, okay, well, if we find another bed, we'll back out, because obviously he's not doing too bad. He's still going pretty good. But the blood trail in between the bed and where we continued to walk, and then we ended up finding another bed was just too heavy to stop. We were like, oh, come on, we'll just go another however many yards.
Pushing them might have helped at that point, I might think. Gets them up and moving, bleeds them out.
I wouldn't recommend it, but I think what you're trying to say is a little bit of planned obsolescence.
Maybe
that would do it.
Like, you're saying that you can predetermine
the end time.
The end time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that's. I wouldn't recommend pushing the deer anytime. Just let it go.
No, but to Ryan's point, I mean, how far, time-wise, how far are we removed from the initial shot?
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you searched, and you guys got yourselves finally in the point on the trail. Distance-wise, where are you at now from the shot? Where it opened up?
We're probably 130, 140 yards now.
So then,
give or take.
And you referenced Lane as being, an expert in blood trailing. Is he educating as you guys are doing this? Like, is he talking to you about some of these things and what you're seeing?
Well, what we pointed out, what he pointed out in one of the beds is how the blood was. It's a lighter blood, and it looks almost like foam.
Yeah.
So okay,
he's and he basically indicated he was like, he said that's a dead deer. You hit the lung.
Yeah.
He said,
Yep.
He shouldn't be too much farther. What I'm starting to learn is different color bloods mean different things, and could potentially lead you to backing out or continuing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
or for how long?
The brighter stuff, the bubbly stuff, that means something completely different than a darker blood,
right?
Or muscle blood. There are
Brown and
a
green,
lot of things
been there
that come along,
worse
with all of this, and it leads to which kind of roller coaster ride you're going to end up on. They're all going to be roller coaster rides. It's just which one.
Brutal,
right?
So to your roller coaster ride, I think we're reaching the station here directly.
Yes, we are.
He opened up. You got on some good spots. You found a bed or two, or maybe areas where there was some stumbling. We're getting close to the end, right?
We are. We're just about there. So after we found that, I don't know if it was the second or maybe the third spot where we thought could have been a bed, or like how you said him stumbling around.
Mm-hmm.
We said, we'll go another couple yards through one more thicket, and then if we don't find him, then we'll just back out, continue to hunt, and come back towards the end because we both had to be at work at 7. So that's one of the main reasons why we got down so soon. But we went through another little jagger bush thicket, and I have my head down to the ground, just looking at all the blood and, trying to just take it all in, I guess. And Lane called my name, and I looked back at him. He goes, "There's your deer." And I'm like looking all over the place, and I'm like, I have no words. I don't even know what to do. And he points over to the start of a little hillside, and I saw the belly, and he was probably only 20 yards from where he said that, and basically just took off through the thicket and just went and grabbed him.
That is awesome.
There's few feelings in this world that can relate to as you're on that roller coaster and you're following that blood trail and you're second guessing everything you've ever done since you drew your first breath in life, and you finally get to lay your hands on them. It just, that feeling is something else.
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of hard to explain. I always have trouble explaining the feelings that you go through from start to beginning, or from start to end. And I still really don't know how to explain it, other than when you let the arrow go, and even prior to that, watching the deer come in, I feel like you share like a certain kind of bond with what you're doing and with the deer. And then you finally get to that point where you release the arrow and you hit them, and you track them, and then you find them, and then just like everything, you go from so high, and then you hit like a low because you're like, oh, I just took the life of something. And then you just immediately go back up to pure excitement and joy and happy and tears. I mean, I shed a few tears, I'm pretty sure. Because of
literal. Yeah.
How many emotions were behind those tears, though? Probably
you literally feel every single emotion that you could possibly feel in a matter of seconds.
And so strongly, I don't think I like to liken it to that you're feeling so much, so in such a strong manner, your body can't even handle it. So
you start to shake again.
You default.
Yeah, you do.
You default to the circuit breaker, and that's crying. I mean, boom. I mean, that's the common thing.
And honestly, it's part of the reason why I think it's hard to put it into words is because it's just it's too much for your body to handle. It's too much for your brain to handle.
It's astral.
That's why you can't.
It is an unbelievable feeling, and to
it's
finally
the reason
be
why
able
we
to
do it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one thing that drives me nuts about people is, you go and kill these poor animals, and I can't even talk to them because they don't have a clue what they're talking about.
Nope.
And it's not about the killing part. That literally to me is probably the last thing. It's probably not even on a list for me. Honestly,
sure.
It's so much more than that. I mean, you kill the animal, but I don't kill it. I don't say kill. I say harvest. That just because you if you kill something, a lot of people, you just kill things and you just let it go. And
yeah,
harvest, I like using that term just due to the fact that, I bring it home, I feed my family, I feed my girlfriend, her son, I feed my friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
My freezer is packed full of the 3 deer that we harvested this year. And it just goes, we've been eating deer meat for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. By definition, the word means that it was done with purpose and with intent and you're utilizing anything you get from it.
Right. It doesn't go to waste.
And that really is the reason for, we've had other guests on who say they don't want to use the word harvest, and they will say that they kill something. And I get both sides of the discussion. We don't want to cheapen this word or dilute it to mean something different. But the reality is that the word harvest in and of itself means, it's talking about the intent. It talks about utilizing every bit of it and the purpose behind it. So it does carry a lot of weight just in that one word.
Mm-hmm.
Holy buckets, boys.
Brilliant.
We just got to the end of the blood trail.
That's what I love. That's why it's
And I just
Campfire.
looked at the time. Holy buckets. Look at what we did. We almost followed that blood trail in real time.
Are you serious?
I love it.
I did not realize that.
It was a very long 2.5 hours, to say the least.
Yeah. I do have one more question. I know that we had mentioned Quest Hunt Co.
Mm-hmm.
How easy was it, and how was the process of entering the score onto the Quest Hunt Co. leaderboard? Can you?
It's super, super easy. They obviously send you the measuring tape that you use.
Right.
They actually, on their website, they have a video of how they want you to do it.
Okay.
And so that kind of helped us because we weren't 100% sure if there was a certain way, and that kind of clarified everything. So we did everything that they said. We put the tape on. The tape's kind of a pain just because, it's tape. It bends, it sticks, and messes up a lot. But after that, you take a few pictures. They show some examples when you're getting ready to submit it, what pictures they would want. I think there's only 3 pictures that you send in. You send one of you and the deer, and then 2 other ones with the measurement tapes, and then the final, the measuring tape itself where it's cut off.
Okay.
So it's pretty simple. You just, after that, you put the pictures on the website, click submit, you submit it, and that's it. It takes literally 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's great. Good.
Super, super easy.
Good.
I'd recommend that if you don't want to struggle that much with the tape, you do like Will and I did. Shoot smaller buck. There's less struggling you got to deal with.
A lot less tape.
A lot less tape.
I got enough to score at least 20 or 30 buck on that side. Lots of tape. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And Ryan, dude, we didn't even barely scratch the surface. Tell us real quickly before we get into the way we like to end the show with the guests. Tell us a little bit about some of the other folks that you work with in the outdoors. I know obviously you're part of Quest Hunt Co. But you actually have some relationships with some outdoor folks, right?
Well, other than just, not necessarily, I'm not involved with anybody, but there's certain brands that I like to use.
Okay.
I always go to Williams Archery. That's the one that the Whitetail Distraction podcast, they always bring up. That's the only people that I go to in that aspect for arrows, broadheads, bows itself, sights, anything that, and they do a tremendous job, and they're very quick. If you need something, they order it. It's in 2 days.
Wow. That's great.
But I will say one thing: if you don't wear First Light camo, you need to try it out because it is the bomb.
Yeah.
Really?
How so?
That stuff is legit. It's comfortable. It's warm. I don't even have warm stuff. I didn't even buy the warm stuff yet.
Yeah.
But I see Lane's decked out in it, so he has all the goods. But I tried the bibs on that he has. They are super warm, super comfortable. You can actually adjust some of the the waistband.
I love bibs.
It's just, oh my God, they're phenomenal. They're so comfortable. They're
and
super
we're coming
quiet.
close to Christmas, guys.
I know it.
All you need is love and bibs.
That is true.
That's it. That's what I already told my girlfriend. I said, all I want is bibs. That's it. So hopefully she remembers. But yeah, other than that, just it's Just me and my buddies, man. That's it. I mean, Lane's a little bit, well, he's a lot more involved in it than I am, but we're going bear hunting Saturday. If that means anything, that's going to be
wow. That's cool.
But yeah, that's it. And it's right now it's a hobby, you know, it's something I love to do. I've always had an interest in it. And I mean, unfortunately I started late, but I mean, now is any time than any. So
you're off to a good start,
Ryan. As a new guy and a late starter to hunting myself, and I probably started way later than you did in life. My only suggestion to you at this point is maybe you need to find a podcast with 7 other dudes that you can learn from.
Hey,
he does have one.
Well, 7 other dudes.
See, they only got 2 though.
And that's what I mean. Like you have Lane and these. Like I have 7 dudes that I listen to every like sitting here, and I might be joking around, but I seriously, there's something that I learn every podcast from these guys and from our guests. That's where I'm blessed in being able to be a part of this business.
Well,
and
Ryan has 8 new best friends right now.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that's where I was getting ready to go to, guys. Thank you, Will. Ryan, don't be afraid to say, hey, that sounds like fun. And we want to do more of that with people as well.
Yep.
And do these things out, fishing, wet wading, pheasant hunting, you name it. Let's do it. And you've got 8 new best friends, bud.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
I can't wait to get to the northwest part of the state.
Yeah.
We got a lot of folks.
Well, come on, man. Come on over. We got all kinds of stuff to do.
Will that tree hold 3 climbers?
5 or 6 climbers the whole way up that tree.
Yeah, you're gonna have the whole kit and go, the whole crew up there.
There's plenty of trees to go around.
I only need to be 4 to 6 feet off the ground.
Oh man, Lane's got me climbing way above where I'm used to. I'm scared of heights. So he's got me at 30, 35 feet.
Wow.
What?
I'm shaking. Oh yeah, yeah. We get up there. I think that's why we can move so much.
Yeah.
So we have to hit up our Fast 5, but I got one more question before we do that.
Please ask.
I just want to ask about that setup with 2 climbers in the stand. Are you guys generally set up like directly opposite ends of the tree, or do you sit up at a more of a 90-degree angle from each other? How do you actually do that? What's the best way to do it?
We're actually more of a 90-degree angle, and we actually interlock our stands. So he climbs up first and gets to where he wants to be.
Like Will and I's beards?
Yeah.
All right.
Sometimes.
It's like Velcro.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll climb up. We'll get to where, he wants to set up. I'll climb at, like you said, like a 90-degree angle, sometimes a little bit off depending on the tree. And we'll actually, when I get up to him, he'll kind of kick out his the bottom wire and the lower end of his stand so that I can actually get my top part underneath him, and we'll interlock. And
I guess
it's pretty neat. And then I don't know, I guess it's a little bit more security in a way, like depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Well, it's easier too if you're actually physically handing off the cameras and stuff, and it makes sense. And that's
Well, he has a thing that attached to the tree. He has one of them arms, so his setup's pretty legit. The camera's phenomenal, and he's got it all. And he climbs this tree in 5 seconds, and he's 35 feet in the air, and he climbs it all with his bow, the camera, all his extra gear. It's all stacked up on a seat, and he just goes.
He's like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of frightening. Actually, I watch him and I get nervous.
It's got an elevator.
I don't know if I could follow that.
Hey Ryan, do you think we're going to see some of that footage? Maybe.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not 100% sure when. It's just a matter of us getting off work together and being able to sit down with my friend Braden, and because he's an editing guru, and knows all the ins and outs of a system, and so we'll probably all 3 to get together one day and kind of pound out a couple videos, and hopefully it's in the near future before the end of the season, but we'll see. Hopefully.
So we'll go to Northern Outcasts Outdoors and hit.
We'll probably end up separating, doing different videos for Lane's side of things, and then one for the Northern Outcasts. But it'll basically, you'll be able to find it on either one. Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do, Ryan. We're gonna. Bucky, you gotta let me do this. I already warned you, bud.
But I already warned you. I don't like it.
Stand down, Bucky.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna get to that point of the show where we ask what we call the Fast Five. We're gonna ask 5 questions.
Fast Five.
In no particular order, and there are no wrong answers. Although Bucky likes to say we'll tell you if they are wrong. But yeah, we're just gonna hit you with 5 questions. You give us the first thing that comes off the top of your head. All right?
I will do my best.
So I'll start us off here with number 1. What is it that you're most proud of, Ryan?
In a general aspect or hunting aspect?
You can bring the military into it if you want. But general aspect, reporting for duty.
Oh wow, that's a tough one. There's a lot of things I'm proud of. Right now, I would say where I'm at in my life as a whole. You know, I found a lot of good friends. I have a wonderful girlfriend that I can come home to, an awesome family. I have a good career, and I get to enjoy everything that I like to do, and I don't have to worry about anything. You know, I think that in itself would be what I would have to say.
Nice.
That's great.
Very cool.
It's like a Lee Greenwood song. I'm getting all choked up over here.
I'll go deep.
Yeah. Okay, Ryan, our second
question.
question.
Don't tempt me with a good time, Ryan.
Our second question, Ryan, is what is the one thing that you can't live without in the outdoors?
I would probably say a cell phone.
Yeah.
And and I don't think I would have said that before. I actually don't know what I would have said before, but I got that from Lane actually, and he made very good points about it. Just not the fact of actually having your cell phone to be able to talk to people and be on social media nonstop.
Take selfies.
But the fact that you can
get right,
which is fine, but you know, it's more or less the fact of using it as a tool into hunting, the weather, the wind.
Sure.
You know, and then he has that Onyx mapping system, and I mean, we literally don't go 10 steps without pulling it up. So
yeah,
I would have to go ahead and agree with him on that one and say the cell phone for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
What's your favorite movie, Ryan?
The Devil's Rejects, probably.
Oh man.
Whoa. We recently had another Rob Zombie film fan on here.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. We were just talking about that. I saw 3 from Hell just recently. So yeah.
I still have not seen it. I bought it on my phone and it won't let me watch it without Wi-Fi, and I don't want to buy Wi-Fi right now. So
it's worth a watch. It's not. Well, I mean, there's a whole nother podcast we could do on, watch movies and drinking beers, but we will. We'll leave it at that. You're not wrong with that being a great movie, though.
I got a question for you.
Oh yeah,
let's hear it.
Number 4. What's one thing you do every day to prepare for your outdoor lifestyle?
Take a shower to wipe my disgusting smell off me.
It's just compounding stinks.
Yep. That bad, huh?
Yep.
It's gotten to the point where you're actually ashamed of yourself. I love it.
Yeah. It's like, wow, I can't believe I let myself do this.
I have an outdoor lifestyle and I need to preserve it.
Very, very cool. I guess that brings us right up to number 5 then, doesn't it? This could be...
It comes after 4, Ryan.
It could be hunting. It could be fishing. It could be anything at all in life. What's on your bucket list, Ryan?
On my bucket list, I would say to go elk hunting. I think that's become a focus in my mind, and the cool part about that is there's potential to conquer that next September. Where me, Lane, Braden, and Jeff are actually talking about going to Idaho next September.
Nice.
No way.
To do a little public land bow hunting. So
we know a guy
hopefully
that does that out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need 7 or 8 more people to tag along?
Okay. Yeah, come on.
We got a couple cameras.
It's public land. You can't keep us off.
Yeah. I'm going to need to see your Onyx maps.
I'll just go to cook for Ian's.
All right, hey, I'm so down for that.
Nurse Chuck Wagon.
As long as it's good. You can't be that guy that just says that you're a good cook and it actually turns out pretty bad.
That's exactly right. I've been saying that for years.
Guys, have you had a bad meal?
No.
We have not.
One. I'll never let you live it down.
No, you won't, probably.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for spending the time with us tonight. Thank you for going through the story and entertaining us on the blood trail. Because while you were on your blood trail, I noticed we veered off on some crazy tangents, which I think was worth it. It really ties into the story, though. So it made for an excellent blood trail.
Can I say this again, guys?
Say it, Pucky.
Ryan, we didn't even get into half of what you do.
No,
like
we
the
didn't.
other hunting and everything, and Will's going to slap me.
No, we
we might have another episode involved with you here.
Hey, you let me know,
All
and I
right.
will make the time to get on back with you guys. That's for sure.
Man,
I hope you had a good time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
No,
This is
thank
fun.
you.
I enjoy it a lot. I'm out here in the garage drinking a bush, talking to a bunch of good guys.
Love it.
About the stuff that we all love to do.
That's right.
You can't really get much better than that.
That's right.
Ryan, before we sign off, though, can you remind folks what's the best way to keep an eye on you and what all of you guys over at Northern Outcast Outdoors got going on? Where should they follow you at?
I have a personal page. It's just rtanner512. That's my Instagram. And then Northern Outcasts Outdoors we have a Facebook, we have a website, we have our Instagram and our YouTube page. And that would be where to find us.
Very cool.
Well, what we're going to do as a way to saying thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
For
and telling
tolerating us.
And for tolerating us.
And
and
to
telling us the great stories.
And to help you a little bit more through those long night shifts.
The long night shifts, exactly, Bucky. What we're going to do, Ryan, is send you over a batch of that Duck Blind coffee. Our good buddies over there at Duck Blind hooked us up with some stuff to send out to the guests. So we're going to send you some Duck Blind coffee and hope you can
migrate over to a better cup.
Nice.
Oh, man. I appreciate it, guys, because that will come in handy on those long midnights. That's for sure.
Nice.
Nice, bud.
And there is nothing wrong with a good cup of Joe at 3 in the morning.
Do we have any of that night
I hear
flight
you.
for him? That dark roast.
Oh, the dark roast
Yeah.
night flight. That'd
Dark-
be good.
yeah, that'd
we'll
be
see if we can
perfect.
rustle some of that up. You probably
Yeah.
have to wrestle it out of my hands, but
Oh,
we'll see if we can't find it.
I think
That sounds good.
I think he earned it
what
tonight.
we have is the first flight. Right now.
First flight. Okay, that's good stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
buddy.
can just drink twice as much of that stuff.
Love it. We'll get that stuff out to you, Ryan. If you can hang on the line, we'll get some information from you.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
guys. I
your
appreciate
time.
it.
Thanks again,
Thanks,
bud.
Ryan.
Yep. Have a good night, guys.
Yep.
Hey, Stevie, before we go any further, let us know about this month's other sponsor.
This month is also brought to you in part by Miser Creative LLC. Rutten River Pursuits podcast is a production of Miser Creative LLC, and if you're interested in starting your own podcast or if you need help creating video content for social media, look us up. Give Will an email at will@ruttenriverpursuits.com for more information or pricing options.
Ooh, I do love that Miser Creative.
Thanks,
Miser,
bud.
miser.
Thanks, Ryan.
Those guys are great.
I've heard nothing but great things about them. That's faux show.
Nah, but seriously,
I've read some positive
if you want to
Yelp
get
reviews.
your crap together,
Yeah.
give me a call. I'm
Do
just
it.
saying it.
You should. Everybody should.
I mean, but like pod wise, I
Right.
don't need to know about your
Life in general.
dirty laundry.
But you might help him with that too. You're pretty creative.
Hey, good pod tonight, boys.
Absolutely.
That was fun stuff.
I always love hearing somebody track a deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the like.
I couldn't get over how much time we actually spent going through that, but I was hanging on every word.
Absolutely.
Every branch.
We went
It
off
is
those little tangents
limb.
and stuff, but
It's
man,
the
it was good.
ultimate hunting suspense story.
It truly is.
We
It's like
even
a-
knew the outcome.
Yeah, but you still peek through your hands and watch it anyway.
Well,
Fingers.
Fingers.
love it,
I mean.
boys. I can't wait till the next one.
Hey, but wait. How can everybody find us, Pick, before we sign out?
Nice catch,
call.
Buck.
I think they can go to ruttenriverpursuits.com. They
Yep.
can follow us on all your social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget the YouTubes
Oh,
at
yeah.
Rutten River Pursuits Podcast. You can listen to this episode and any other episodes on any of your podcast apps, such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts.
I love that iHeartRadio.
Noise.
Do you hearts them?
I heard them.
Good stuff, boys. I didn't mean to try to do it earlier, Bucky, but I do mean it now. Can't wait for the next one.
Rick and Weedless.
See you, boys.
See ya. Get outdoors, peeps.
Peace.
I agree. I always close my eyes. If I feel like they're looking up at me, I close my eyes.
Yeah, then they can't see you. I do the same stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if that actually works. Like, because I've heard if you make eye contact with them, like, they notice, or I don't know.
Yeah,
but ever since I heard that, I close my eyes.
Yeah, going back to that idea of sitting in the stand and trading off the cameras, depending upon the deer that came in, that would never work for Will and I. Because we'd just be up there calling dibs as soon as we seen a little, just a little flash of antler. Dibs.
I think we'd be drawing at the same time.
Who's running the camera?
Thought you were.
You've got 8 new best friends, bud.
Hell yeah, I appreciate it.
I can't wait to get to the northwest part of the state.
Yeah.
We got a lot of folks.
Well, come on, man. Come on over. We got all kinds of stuff to do.
Will that tree hold 3 climbers?
5 or 6 climbers the whole way up that tree.
Yeah, we're gonna have the whole kit and go, the whole crew up there.